love. It's Christina Rilo here, and I am inviting you to join me and people from all around the world this spring for a 40-day practice called From Burnout to Balance. And it's all about creating a more sustainable, supportive rhythm to your life. Less stress for you, more energy, more spaciousness. And I decided to call this practice together because I've just been noticing a theme of so many people all around the world, me included, that are under so much stress. And I think all of us at some level are feeling overwhelmed and burned out and depleted and just tired of trying to manage it all. And the truth is that the outside world isn't slowing down. The amount of things that we have to manage isn't necessarily going away. And yet we have to find different ways to be inside of our lives. Now the good news is that the ancient sages, the yogis, the spiritual masters, they left us trails. They left us spiritual practices. They left us meditations. They left us rituals because they knew that this time, they literally, get this, they predicted that this would be a time in the 21st century when human beings would be faced with levels of stress that our nervous systems weren't prepared to deal with, that we weren't emotionally and mentally taught or brought up to be able to deal with. And so they left us all these different pieces. And I've been practicing these things myself for the last several years, and they've been working. And one of these things is the 40-day practice. 40-day practice is something that just in and of itself can create amazing shift within. Because the truth is, if that out there is not changing, the only thing that you and I have control over is what's in here. And what I've learned is when we change our personal operating system on the inside, when you change those tendencies and those habits that have been deeply ingrained in here, to stop being sabotaging and adding to the stress and adding to the pressure, what happens is the outside world responds. And so let me share a little bit with you about the power of this 40-day practice. Okay, so the 40-day practice. 40-day practices are something that I started using, almost a decade ago when I learned about them. The metaphysicians, the yogis, and the scientists all agree that if you can do something for 40 days, you can identify a previously subconscious patterns and tendencies that are sabotaging and bring them up to the surface so that you can actually start to work with them and shift them. Because if you don't know what's going on inside this internal operating system, there's no way to shift it. Brain scientists have proven that between 28 and 31 days, if you do something with intention and use a similar practice and have focus, your brain will literally shift its neural pathways. The yogis and the metaphysicians know it's 40 days for the soul, the spirit, the body, and the mind to fully integrate and come to a new level of operating. So the reason this works, just kind of think about this practically. I kind of think about it in 4 stages. Whenever I do a 40-day practice, what happens is first I become aware. That's the first stage. I become aware of things I just didn't even know were tendencies and habits that were contributing to my stress and my pressure. And then what happens is you move to stage 2, where you still do the same things, create the same patterns, have the same beliefs, but you reflect back and you're like, oh my God, look, I did that. That's how I responded. Here was the impact. Let me try something different. So then you start to move to stage 3 inside the 40-day practice, where you start to feel that same tendency to choose the thing that's going to try to deal with or manage the stress, whether that's responding emotionally with anger or worry, or it's a habit like, sugar or alcohol or shopping. And there's so many different things we do to deal with pressure. But get this, inside of the container of the 40 days, you start to make changes and shifts so that you trust that doing things a different way actually gets you better results. And eventually, by the end of the 40 days, you move to stage 4, which is integration, where those old patterns and tendencies are no longer running you. Instead, you're the one in control of your own habits, and you're the one who's choosing how you're responding to the pressure and to the stress in your life. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about 40-day practices, what about this one, From Burnout to Balance? This practice is meant to fit into your life. This is the great thing about 40-day practices. It's not another to-do on your list. What happens is I give you the structure, I give you the support, I share the ancient wisdom, the practices, which are so simple but so powerful, and you're inside a community of other beings that are also focused on this. And you know as well as I do that when you have accountability, when you have a community, you're more likely to not give up on yourself. So all the details about the 40-day practice, love, are here on the page. I made this invitation to you from my heart to yours, the images and the colors and everything, to help you feel into your heart if this is for you. Truly, this 40-day practice has changed my life, and I want to hold that container for you. I know that we can together make the overwhelm and the depletion and the exhaustion and the patterns of draining ourselves ways that we used to operate. And it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to change everything in 40 days. But I know, because I've done 40-day practices again and again, that you can focus in one area, and I'm going to help you focus on that personal operating system inside of you to start to identify the levels of stress and pressure that you can control and you can shift, and then give you new simple practices, daily practices, morning practices, evening practices, things you can do in your day that take less than 3 to 11 minutes. You don't have to sit on a mountaintop for 2 hours. You can actually do all of this in your life. So read the invitation, feel into it. If it's for you, we start on April 9th. We would love to have you. And if you have any questions, any more than those, you can also email me and my team at love@arilo.com. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. We start on April 9th.